The Grand Arbiter of the Concordiat adjusted her crystalline sensory arrays as the diplomatic vessel Dawn's Light decelerated from hyperspace. Earth's solar system spread before them, deceptively ordinary against the backdrop of endless stars. The vessel's quantum sensors painted a picture that technical overlord Razix found puzzlingly inconsistent. Most peculiar, Razix chittered, his auxiliary processing nodes pulsing with confusion. The energy signatures don't align with their apparent development level. Grand Arbiter Nixis dismissed his concerns with a graceful wave of her primary manipulator. You're overthinking, Razix. The humans' first antimatter reactor went online merely 2 decades ago. Their lunar base barely sustains 1,000 colonists. They've only reached Mars with automated probes. Yet something about Earth's orbital space nagged at Razix's enhanced senses. The debris field appeared too perfectly arranged, the communication satellites too conveniently positioned. In his 6 centuries of evaluating emerging civilizations, he'd never seen such precise chaos. The Concordia delegation had come to officially welcome humanity into the galactic community. Standard procedure: evaluate their technology level, offer limited knowledge exchanges, and guide them through their first steps into interstellar society. Humanity would be assigned their appropriate tier, likely somewhere near the bottom, given their apparent development level. Approaching Earth orbital space, announced the navigation officer. Local authorities have granted us approach vector Alpha 7. Razix's auxiliary processors surged with activity. Alpha 7? That's a high-precision approach corridor. Most species at this development stage can barely track our ships, let alone designate specific flight paths. They likely copied the protocol from our first contact package, Nixis replied, though her own sensory crystals flickered with a hint of uncertainty. The first hint that something was deeply amiss came during the welcoming ceremony. The human delegation, led by Ambassador Sarah Chen, displayed none of the wide-eyed wonder typical of emerging species. Instead, they carried themselves with the quiet confidence of equals, or perhaps something more. Welcome to Earth, Chen smiled, speaking perfect Concordiat standard without any translation assistance. We've prepared quarters for your delegation in our orbital diplomatic center. Razix's probability engines nearly crashed. The humans shouldn't even know Concordiat standard existed, let alone speak it with native-level proficiency. Before he could process this anomaly, they were led to a shuttle that was suspiciously well adapted for Concordiat physiology. During the trip to the orbital facility, Razix noticed more discrepancies. The shuttle's inertial dampeners felt more advanced than their own. The structural materials, while appearing primitive on scanners, displayed properties that shouldn't be possible with known physics. Ambassador Chen, Nixis inquired, your technological progress is impressive for a species so new to space travel. Chen's smile remained perfectly diplomatic. We believe in thorough preparation, Grand Arbiter. Humanity has always been quick to learn. The Orbital Diplomatic Center appeared to be a relatively new construction of steel and carbon composites. Yet Razix's sensors detected quantum fluctuations that suggested something far more sophisticated lurking beneath the surface. As they were shown to their quarters, a junior human diplomat dropped a datapad. In the split second before it hit the floor, Razix's enhanced perception caught a glimpse of its true nature, not the simple tablet it appeared to be, but a device of such complexity that his processors refused to fully analyze it. That evening, alone in his quarters, Razix began compiling his observations. The humans were maintaining a carefully constructed facade, but why? What was the purpose of appearing less advanced than they truly were? His musings were interrupted by a soft chime from his personal terminal. A message scrolled across the screen in perfect Concordiat script. Technical Overlord Razix, we've noticed your attention to detail. Perhaps you'd like to see what lies behind the curtain. Tomorrow, 800 hours, Observation Deck 7. Come alone if you wish to understand. The message was signed simply, Project Sentinel. As Razix contemplated the invitation, his sensors detected a massive energy surge from the direction of Jupiter, gone so quickly he might have imagined it. But technical overlords didn't imagine things, and Razix was beginning to suspect that humanity's first contact with the Concordia was anything but their first encounter with advanced civilizations. The real question was, what game were they playing, and why? At precisely 800 hours, Razix's gravitational stabilizers hummed as he moved through the seemingly primitive corridors of the orbital diplomatic center. Observation Deck 7 appeared empty when he arrived, its vast windows offering a spectacular view of Earth below. The technical readouts from his sensors continued to frustrate him. Everything simultaneously appeared both primitive and impossibly advanced, as if existing in two states at once. "Impressive technology you have there, technical overlord," a voice spoke from behind him. "Though your quantum scanning suite is about 3 centuries behind our current standards." Razix spun around to face a human he hadn't detected approaching. Another impossibility. The man appeared middle-aged by human standards, wearing a simple gray uniform with no insignia. "I'm Director Marcus Kane, Project Sentinel," the human said, extending his hand in their traditional greeting gesture. "And yes, I was completely invisible to your sensors. We call it quantum shadow technology. One of our earlier developments, actually." Razix's processing cores struggled to maintain stability. Earlier developments. The Concordia has existed for 50,000 years. We've cataloged the rise of thousands of civilizations. Nothing develops this fast. Kane's smile carried a hint of amusement. Unless, of course, they had help. "Tell me, technical overlord, have you ever heard of the Precursor Archives?" The name sent electromagnetic shivers through Razix's neural network. The Precursor Archives were a myth, supposedly containing the accumulated knowledge of the first civilization to achieve interstellar travel. The Concordia had spent millennia searching for them. "We found them," Kane said simply, 300 years ago, buried beneath the surface of Mars. But that's not the interesting part. He gestured to a nearby console, and the observation deck's windows transformed into a massive display screen. "The interesting part is what we found inside them." Images began to flow across the screen. Impossible technologies, physics that defied known universal constants, and engineering that bordered on magic. But what truly froze Razix's cognitive processes was the final image. A genetic map of humanity. "We weren't just another emerging civilization," Kane explained. "We were engineered by the precursors themselves, seeded on Earth and left to develop naturally. The archives weren't just a repository of knowledge. They were our inheritance." The deck's lighting shifted, and suddenly Razix could see what his sensors had been trying to tell him all along. The entire station was constructed of programmable matter, every surface composed of billions of quantum-scale machines that could reconfigure themselves instantly. "The primitive technology you've been seeing is just a shell," Kane continued. "A facade we maintain for various reasons. Would you like to know why?" Before Razix could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Ambassador Chen's voice came through the communication system, all pretense of diplomatic courtesy gone. "Director Kane, we have a situation. The Hegemony fleet just appeared at the edge of the system. 50 dreadnoughts, and they're not responding to hails." Kane's expression hardened. It seems the Hegemony decided to make their move earlier than expected. They must have been watching the Concordia delegation's arrival. He turned to Razix. "Your civilization isn't the only one we've been monitoring, technical overlord. The Hegemony has been systematically conquering and enslaving developing worlds for millennia. We've been preparing to stop them." The observation deck's windows cleared, and Razix watched in awe as Earth's orbital space transformed. Thousands of satellites revealed their true nature, metamorphosing into advanced weapon platforms. The moon's surface rippled as hidden hangar doors larger than cities slid open. From Jupiter's orbit, massive structures began to phase into normal space, fleet yards and battle stations that dwarfed anything the Concordia had ever built. "We didn't want this confrontation," Kane said quietly. We hope to reveal ourselves gradually, to help guide the galaxy toward a more peaceful future. But it seems the hegemony has forced our hand. He turned to Razix. Your civilization has always tried to do right by emerging species, technical overlord. That's why we revealed ourselves to you first. Now you have a choice to make. Through his sensors, Razix detected thousands of human warships emerging from quantum space, their technology so advanced it made the hegemony's dreaded dreadnoughts look primitive by comparison. At their head was a massive vessel that caused all of his analysis systems to crash simultaneously. That, Kane said, noting Razix's reaction, is the Sentinel Prime, the first ship we built using full precursor technology. The hegemony is about to learn why the precursors chose humanity as their inheritors. His communication device chimed softly. The hegemony fleet has crossed the outer system boundary. They're not slowing down. Kane's eyes met Razix's sensory array. So, technical overlord, shall we show them why it's unwise to threaten a protected world? The hegemony fleet's advance through the solar system halted abruptly as space itself seemed to warp around them. Razix watched in stunned silence as the massive dreadnoughts found themselves trapped in a geometric pattern of quantum distortions, their engines flaring uselessly against forces they couldn't comprehend. Spatial lattice containment, Kane explained casually. We established it throughout the solar system centuries ago. Think of it as a giant chessboard where we control which pieces can move and where. He gestured to a holographic display showing the trapped hegemony ships. Their weapons and engines are effectively useless now. Ambassador Chen strode onto the observation deck, her simple diplomatic attire dissolving into a sleek uniform embedded with pulsing quantum circuitry. The hegemony Supreme Commander is demanding to speak with Earth's leadership, she announced, amusement evident in her voice. Apparently, they're rather upset about being immobilized by primitive savages. Let's show them primitive. Kane nodded. The space around Earth shimmered as thousands of quantum-cloaked installations deactivated their stealth fields. Massive orbital rings appeared, studded with technology that made Razix's most advanced analysis suites appear primitive by comparison. The moon's surface rippled again, revealing vast cities and research installations that had been hidden beneath an artificial regolith shell. Project Sentinel wasn't just about defending Earth, Chen explained to Razix. It was about preparing humanity to take its place as the precursors designated guardians of this galaxy. Everything you've seen, the fake primitive technology, the seemingly limited space presence, was a carefully crafted deception to let us work unnoticed. A new hologram appeared, showing a galactic map dotted with thousands of points of light. Each of these, Kane indicated, is a human settlement or research station, all hidden using the same techniques we used here. We've been watching, learning, and preparing for centuries. Razix's probability engines finally managed to form a coherent query. But why? Why maintain such an elaborate deception? Because of them. Chen gestured toward the trapped hegemony fleet, and others like them. We discovered early on that there were forces in the galaxy that would stop at nothing to possess precursor technology. The hegemony is just the most aggressive example. We needed time to understand our inheritance and prepare proper defenses. The holographic display shifted to show something that caused Razix's cognitive functions to temporarily freeze, a massive structure hidden in subspace, extending throughout the entire galaxy. The precursor defense grid, Kane said softly. Their ultimate achievement and their final gift to us. A network of quantum-entangled nodes capable of maintaining peace across the entire galaxy. We've spent the last century bringing it back online, node by node. Security Protocol Omega initiated, announced an artificial voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Defense grid activation sequence commencing. Throughout the solar system, streams of energy began connecting the revealed human installations in intricate patterns. Similar energy streams became visible in distant space, spreading outward like a wave through the galaxy. The hegemony ships hung motionless, their crews watching in horror as humanity's true power was finally unveiled. We didn't want to activate it this soon. Chen sighed. The grid requires enormous amounts of energy and coordination to operate, but the hegemony's premature aggression leaves us no choice. Kane turned to Razix. The Concordiat has always tried to be a force for stability and progress in the galaxy. That's why we're showing you this first. We'd like your civilization to work with us, to help establish a new order based on cooperation rather than conquest. Through his sensors, Razix detected similar scenes playing out across the galaxy as hidden human installations revealed themselves. The quantum signatures were unmistakable. Humanity hadn't just matched precursor technology, they'd improved upon it. The Hegemony Supreme Commander is asking for terms, Chen reported. Kane's expression was firm but not unkind. Tell them the era of conquest is over. The precursors chose humanity for a reason. Not because we were the strongest or the most advanced, but because they saw in us the potential to unite rather than divide. It's time for the galaxy to remember what cooperation feels like. As if to emphasize his words, the defense grid's energy patterns shifted, forming new connections between worlds and species that had been separated by millennia of conflict and mistrust. The Age of Secrets was ending, and a new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. Razix realized he was witnessing not just the unveiling of humanity's power, but the birth of a new galactic order, one that would be shepherded by the species that had hidden in plain sight for so long, waiting for the right moment to fulfill their inherited duty as guardians of the galaxy. The following weeks transformed galactic civilization more profoundly than the previous 10,000 years combined. Razix stood in the newly revealed Terran Central Command, a vast complex buried deep within Earth's moon, watching as centuries of carefully laid plans unfolded across the galaxy. The room's quantum displays showed hundreds of simultaneous events, hidden human colonies emerging from stealth fields, advanced defense platforms activating around threatened worlds, and perhaps most significantly, the faces of countless alien species learning that humanity had been secretly protecting them for generations. The Hegemony's slave worlds are all secure, Director Kane reported, studying the tactical overlay. Our embedded liberation teams disabled their control systems exactly as planned. 73 civilizations freed in under 6 hours, without a single casualty. Ambassador Chen, now revealed as the commander of humanity's diplomatic corps, manipulated a series of holographic controls. The Concordiat Assembly is in emergency session. They're rather eager to discuss new security arrangements. I imagine they are. Kane smiled slightly. Finding out that humanity has been quietly preventing 3 major wars and 2 attempted genocides tends to change political perspectives. Razix's neural networks pulsed with curiosity. You prevented wars we never even knew were coming. The precursor archives didn't just give us technology, Chen explained. They gave us understanding. Mathematical models for predicting civilization-level conflicts, quantum probability engines that could simulate billion-year outcomes. We saw the patterns forming centuries ago. The displays shifted to show a new image, a massive structure taking shape in orbit around a distant star. The first joint human Concordiat shipyard, Kane noted. Your people's engineering expertise combined with our quantum technology. The ships we build there will help secure peace for the next 1,000 years. Through quantum-linked communications, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Hegemony's leadership had been quietly arrested by their own people, aided by human stealth teams that had been embedded in their society for decades. Former slave species were being given access to medical and technological aid that had been stockpiled for centuries, waiting for this moment. There's something I still don't understand, Razix ventured. With your level of technology, you could have simply conquered the galaxy yourselves. Why choose this path? Chen's expression softened, because that's exactly why the precursors chose us. They didn't want conquerors. They'd seen where that path led. They wanted guardians who understood the value of patience, of helping from the shadows, of letting civilizations grow while protecting them from the worst of their own impulses. The room's displays suddenly shifted, showing a massive gathering of ships near the galactic core. Vessels from 100 different species, many of them ancient enemies, assembled in a carefully choreographed pattern. The first Unity fleet, Kane explained. A joint defense force combining technologies and crews from every major civilization. Something that would have been impossible a month ago, before they knew the truth about humanity's role. Razix watched as ships that had once fought bitter wars against each other now maneuvered in perfect harmony, their crews learning to work together under human guidance. The precursor defense grid hummed with energy, its quantum networks facilitating instant communication and cooperation between species that had never trusted each other before. Your civilization's role is crucial moving forward, Chen told Razix. The Concordiate's diplomatic experience, combined with our technology and oversight, will help forge lasting alliances. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to help it rule itself. New reports continued to arrive. Hidden human research stations sharing medical breakthroughs that would save billions of lives, advanced agricultural techniques ending famines on dozens of worlds, clean energy technology eliminating resource wars that had raged for centuries. The precursors left us more than just technology, Kane said quietly. They left us a vision of what the galaxy could become, a place where species help each other grow, where knowledge is shared rather than hoarded, where strength is measured not by the wars you win, but by the wars you prevent. As if to emphasize his words, the defense grid pulsed with new energy, its quantum networks expanding to connect even more worlds and species. The age of secrecy was ending, replaced by an era of unprecedented cooperation and growth. Razix's probability engines calculated the implications, centuries of conflict ending, millions of lives saved, and a new galactic order emerging, all because humanity had chosen to be silent guardians rather than conquerors. The galaxy was changing, and for the first time in millennia, it was changing for the better. 1 year after humanity's revelation, the Great Council Chamber of Earth's orbital nexus hosted representatives from over 1,000 civilizations. The massive chamber, constructed from programmable quantum matter, adapted itself perfectly to accommodate each species' environmental needs. Razix, now serving as the Concordiate's ambassador to Earth, marveled at how much had changed. The former hegemony worlds had transformed into thriving centers of cultural exchange. Their once fearsome military installations now served as schools and research centers, where scientists from across the galaxy worked together to solve ancient problems. The defense grid hummed silently in the background, its vast network maintaining peace with an efficiency that bordered on art. The quantum terraforming projects are proceeding ahead of schedule. Director Kane addressed the assembly. 37 previously uninhabitable worlds will be ready for colonization within the month. The Joint Species Settlement Program has already received millions of volunteers. Commander Chen, her quantum-enhanced uniform shifting colors in response to the emotional resonance of the chamber, brought up a new holographic display. The first generation of ships built with combined technology from all our civilizations is ready for launch. They carry the hopes and dreams of every species represented here. Razix noted how the chamber's atmosphere had changed from the tense uncertainty of early meetings. Ancient enemies now sat together, sharing technologies and resources that would have been unthinkable a year ago. The human approach to guardianship had proven more effective than anyone could have imagined. We've received the first transmissions from the Andromeda expedition, Kane continued. The quantum bridge is stable. Our galaxy's combined knowledge and technology have opened up possibilities the precursors themselves never imagined. The chamber's displays shifted to show vast construction projects throughout the galaxy. Dyson swarms harnessing the energy of entire stars, matter conversion plants ending resource scarcity, and massive medical facilities where once incurable diseases were being eliminated daily. But our greatest achievement, Chen smiled, isn't in our technology or our defenses. It's in this chamber, right now. Look around you, 1,000 species working together, building a future none of us could have created alone. She gestured, and the chamber's quantum architecture revealed the full scope of the defense grid. But now it was more than just a defensive network. It had evolved into a symbol of unity, its energy patterns reflecting the countless connections forming between previously isolated civilizations. The precursors didn't choose us because we were special, Kane explained. They chose us because we understood something fundamental. True power isn't about control. It's about protection, about helping others grow while staying humble enough to grow ourselves. Razix's sensors detected a subtle shift in the quantum field surrounding Earth. For a moment, patterns emerged that seemed to suggest something vast and ancient stirring to awareness. The precursor technology, dormant for eons, was responding to the unprecedented cooperation between species. "We're detecting unusual activity in the precursor archives," Chen announced, her expression one of wonder. "It seems they left us more than we initially discovered. The archives are opening new sections, responding to our united progress." The chamber erupted in excited discussion as new data streamed in. The precursors had left additional gifts, technologies, and knowledge that would only be revealed when the galaxy's species learned to truly work together. Humanity's patient guardianship had unlocked possibilities that force never could. "This," Kane addressed the assembly, "is just the beginning. The precursors showed us a path, but where we go from here will be our own choice, all of us together." As the chamber filled with voices of agreement and cooperation, Razix reflected on how far they'd come. The galaxy had transformed not through conquest or domination, but through humanity's quiet strength and unwavering commitment to protection rather than power. The defense grid pulsed one final time, its energy patterns settling into a stable configuration that would last for millennia. The age of conflict was over. The age of unity had begun, and at its heart was the species that had waited patiently in the shadows, not to conquer the galaxy, but to help it become something greater than the sum of its parts. Humanity had fulfilled their role as guardians, not by forcing change, but by nurturing it. And in doing so, they had helped create something the precursors themselves would have been proud to see: a truly united galaxy, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might present, together.